This video will talk about the table of contents of your research paper. So the table of contents is very important because this will show us every part of your research paper and where to look for them or the page number as the indication. First, we have to teach you how to let's go to another page and teach you how to create your to put the page number. Click insert, go to page number, click top of the page because St. Mary's College of Tagum Incorporated format is on the top right of the research paper. So that's page 1. However, you have to click that one, press Control A, and then you have to click Book Antiqua because that is our font style, and 12. Now, if we have extra paper, okay, let's insert blank pages. The sequence of the number will start from 1, then 2, 3, and 4, and so on. However, there are instances that you wanted to start not on the page 1 because you created another document and you wanted to start, let's say, from page 35. So you just have to go to page number, format page, start at, let's say, 35. Click OK. And then your page number or page numbering will start at page 35 and then 36 and so on as it goes with the sequence of the numbering. Okay, so that's it. Let's proceed. Let's go back to the table of contents. So since the table of contents will show us every part of your research paper, let's dive and look on every part of the research paper. But remember, you have to know whether your research paper is a non-experimental quantitative or experimental quantitative. Experimental quantitative, non-experimental quantitative. Now, there's a difference or slight differences. There are slight differences in the parts or headings of the page or even the whole research paper. So let's start with the title page. Title page will stay as it is. Approval sheet. This is where your advisor and the panel members will sign to prove that you have defended your research paper well. Your acknowledgement is where you express your gratitude, say thank you to your parents, to your teachers, to your classmates, even to your respondents, to anyone who directly and indirectly helped you along your journey of creating or finishing your research paper. Okay, so the abstract is will be finalized at the end of your research paper when you get your results and presented and defended your research paper. The table of contents is where we can find every part of the research paper and the page number that they indicate uh, or where they can be found. The list of tables and the figures, as their name implies, this is where the table and the figures will be located. Next is the chapter 1. The whole chapter 1 between the non-experimental and the experimental quantitative is the same. So let's go over the background of the study. This is really always in the first page or the page number 1. This is the introduction of the qualitative research. Statement of the problem. We have hypothesis, review of related literature and studies. We have the conceptual framework. We have the significance of the study and then definition of terms. Now, let's go to the chapter 2 method. There's a difference or slight differences between the non-experimental and experimental quantitative researches. The research design will stay as it is. However, this treatment and their application needs to be, okay, these treatments and their application can only be found in experimental scientific quantitative researches. So if you are doing non-experimental, you have to remove that one. Okay, see? So that's it. So let it get back. Okay, let's get it back. So if you have non-quantitative, remove that one. If you are doing scientific experimental research, you have to include that one. So since the treatments includes those, the control subject, the control treatment, the negative treatment, and the also your positive, yeah, and those things. We will be talking about that. And also your research subject. The only difference between the in this part is that this one. Let's put some text. Research subject is for experimental. However, this will be known as research respondents in your non-experimental quantitative research. So if ever that you are doing non-quantitative non-experimental quantitative research, just change that into research respondents. Okay, next is, well, let's remove that one. Next is the research locale. So research locale will stay as it is. Next will be the research material. So this research material is experimental quantitative. So if you are doing non-experimental, you change that into research instruments. Okay. So if you're doing non-experimental quantitative, change that into research instrument. Next, if you are doing quantitative research, experimental, you have these experimental procedures. However, if you are doing non-experimental quantitative research, you have to change that experimental procedures and as such with, okay, let's change that into data gathering procedures. Okay, so data gathering procedures. And then you can remove the pre-intervention, intervention, and post-intervention. Next. Okay, let's remove that one first. Okay. Next is the data treatment. Okay. In here, this is mostly used in the experimental, but let's change and have a uniform term here. Let's use statistical treatment of data. So both quantitative experimental and quantitative non-experimental must use this term statistical treatment of data. Okay, next would be chapter 3, which is the result and discussion. These headings here is actually based on your hypothesis or statement of the problem. So you can actually, let's say, infer that the statement of the problem here has 3 statement of the problems, and those were what are the summary of the area of zone of inhibition in every group after 24 hours, what is the difference or what are the differences in the area of zone of and the such. Okay, so the results and discussion subheadings will be based on your statement of the problem. The next one is the fourth, the summary. In the summary, conclusion, and recommendation, you can just summarize your findings, conclusion, or and recommend. So the recommendation and the such. Okay, we will be talking about this in the next videos. Okay, there are some noise outside. Okay, just don't mind them. Okay, in the this is the references. This is where your APA format references will be located. So next is the appendices. This is where every documents that you have in your research will be collated and compiled. And of course, the last one is the curriculum vitae. Some would actually read this as vitae, but it's VT. Okay, so these are the parts of the table of contents. Next video, in the next video we will be talking about the whole chapter one by one. Of course, we will start with the problem and its setting, background of the study. But for now, that is all for the table of contents.